Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we're diving into a world that's really undergoing a massive shift: global finance. Forget what you thought you knew about, money, banks, traditional systems. We're talking the age of Web3, where the old ways are kind of bending under innovation, making way for decentralized platforms, smart contracts, new forms of digital value.
Exactly. And for you listening, the goal here isn't just to watch this happen, it's to really get it.
Yeah.
To be equipped to understand, maybe even lead it. The
Oh,
stuff we've looked at, our sources, they make it really clear. Understanding how value flows now. Without banks, brokers, borders, it's not just interesting anymore. It's becoming essential.
okay, right. Let's unpack this a bit. Our research suggests that, traditional finance taught us wallet management, but Web3 is more about navigating whole ecosystems. What's the fundamental change here? What really redefines things?
Well, what's really striking is just how fast it's all changing, especially for younger people. The material we dug into frames mastering this new financial world less as an option, more like, well, survival almost. Future relevance, definitely. This isn't just about new tools, it's a whole redefinition of how value gets created, exchanged, and maybe most importantly, owned.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, especially for, anyone watching the global economy. A key point from the sources is how Bitcoin, for example, just fundamentally shook up monetary theory, introducing scarcity-backed digital assets. That was new.
Right. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, Bitcoin's real innovation wasn't just, say, digital gold. It proved a global, censorship-resistant value system could exist outside traditional controls. That laid the groundwork for digital sovereignty, showing the power of scarcity, sure, but also immutability, permissionless access. Then you've got things like the Stellar Network. The sources highlight how it's made remittances, cross-border payments, almost frictionless. These aren't small tweaks. They're foundational shifts in how value moves around the world.
And it's not just currencies, right? Web3 seems to redefine value itself with tokenization, turning art, equity, all sorts of things into on-chain assets. So what does this actually mean for someone trying to navigate this? How does it play out practically?
Yeah, that raises a really important question for you, the listener. What are the absolute core concepts you need to grasp? First, let's talk tokenization and ownership. Our sources define tokenization as essentially creating a digital token that represents real-world value. But it's more than just a digital picture.
So you mean I could hold like a fraction of an asset, a piece of art, or
Mhm.
maybe real estate, and then stake it for returns, trade it, all without needing a bank or a broker in the middle.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Precisely. The sources state that in Web3, ownership itself becomes programmable. The rules are baked into the code. They even suggest that teaching young people to use this stuff, not just know about it, is as vital as teaching reading and writing, which is a strong statement. And this brings us straight to the tech underneath: blockchain and smart contracts. Blockchain is that decentralized ledger, the secure base layer for all this, transparent, immutable.
Okay, blockchain is the base. But smart contracts, that still sounds pretty futuristic. How do they fit in? What do they do?
Think of them like self-executing agreements. The terms are written directly into code on the blockchain. So if condition A happens, action B automatically follows. No need for a third party to check or enforce it. It automates trust, basically. Cuts out a lot of traditional steps and middlemen. And the sources really emphasize that being digitally savvy now includes handling wallets, understanding these ledgers, interacting safely with smart contracts.
Right. And that leads to another distinction I think confuses people: digital assets versus digital currencies. Bitcoin is often called a currency, but it's really more a scarce digital asset, isn't it? And then you have tokens for art, equity, maybe even voting rights in a project. It's broader than just money. So for people wanting to get involved, what about the basics of trading and investing in decentralized markets?
Well, our sources don't give specific trading advice, obviously,
Hmm.
but they do highlight things like stake it for returns or trade it without intermediaries. These are core activities in DeFi, decentralized finance, new ways to participate. But, and this is critical, with that freedom comes responsibility, especially around securing and custodying digital assets safely. The research strongly stresses you have to understand how to manage your wallets, your keys securely. Because here, you are your own bank. There's no one to call if you mess up.
Mm, that's a key point. And beyond the tech skills, the sources also point to certain mindset traits. It's not just what you know, but how you think.
Absolutely. To really thrive, not just participate, but lead, young people will need a few things. First, curiosity. You have to want to explore these platforms, protocols, things change fast. Then, critical thinking. Essential for evaluating projects, spotting hype or scams in a space that's still, while evolving its regulations. Also, digital savviness. We mentioned it actually being comfortable and secure with wallets, ledgers, smart contracts, and ownership mindset, too, shifting from just being a customer to being a real stakeholder. And finally, ethical awareness, thinking about fairness, transparency, accountability in these new systems.
So it really boils down to being agile, insightful, and intentional, having a principled approach.
Yeah, and those technologies we mentioned, Bitcoin and Stellar, they serve as really useful blueprints here. Bitcoin lays down that foundation for digital sovereignty, scarcity, immutability, permissionless access to value storage. It's a powerful concept.
Right, the foundation. And Stellar then shows a more direct, sort of real-world application, helping people, businesses move value globally without the friction, especially remittances, like you said. It highlights the practical side.
Exactly. It bridges the old and new in a very tangible way.
Okay, now, before we wrap things up, it is incredibly important we state this clearly. This deep dive is purely for educational and informational purposes.
That's absolutely right. The views we're sharing here are our personal takes, based directly on the source material we reviewed. This is definitely not financial advice. Please, always do your own thorough research, consult with qualified financial professionals before making any decisions. Seriously.
So what's the big takeaway here for you? The research we looked at strongly suggests we're not just redefining money, we're changing who actually controls it. Today's youth aren't just inheriting some new economy, they're actively burning it. An economy that's, tokenized, decentralized, radically open in many ways.
Which is exactly why financial literacy education has to evolve. It must include hands-on experience with wallets, blockchains, digital assets. We really encourage you listening. Explore these tools. Try to understand their implications. Take that financial control into your own hands.
Because, as the sources powerfully put it, in the future, knowing how to use money might not be nearly as important as knowing how to own it. That's quite a thought to mull over, isn't it? We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights and maybe sparked a bit of curiosity.